Hi, this is Group 2. I'm Eleanor, and Sophia, Ali, Megan, and Zach are also in Group 2. And for our social innovation, we decided to focus on Cal Poly going green, so promoting sustainability and reducing waste through campus dining. So campus dining has definitely taken a lot of steps in the right direction. For example, we used to have reusable containers for food in the dining halls, but the problem was very few people knew that they were available. And ever since COVID hit, they kind of transitioned back to the single-use plastics. So hopefully post-COVID, when things kind of return more closer to normal, we can re-implement the reusable containers. And as I mentioned, we still have a lot of single-use plastics on campus, but Cal Poly did start creating a compostable utensils, but there are very few compost bins easily accessible on campus, and compost pre and post food leftovers are only for large events. So with this being said, our goals are to 1, ban single-use plastics on campus, 2, provide reusable containers to take food to go by implementing a rental service, 3, implement a reusable cup rental service, and 4, add a compost bin to throw away uneaten food. Food actually takes up more space in US landfills than anything else. So we thought that this would be an important goal. And then lastly, donate leftovers to people in need. So before the pandemic, there were about 35 million Americans that had food insecurity, and now in 2021, it rose up to 50 million. And so because of this pandemic, we can just assume that more people are food insecure. So helping donate some of our leftovers could be really beneficial.
Creating a more sustainable dining experience matches Cal Poly's terrain. One reason for this is it fits right into Cal Poly's culture. If we take a look at the Cal Poly mission statement right here, and we zoom in on the last sentence, it reads, "As an academic community, Cal Poly values free inquiry, cultural and intellectual diversity, mutual respect, civic engagement, and social and environmental responsibility." Focusing specifically on the end of that sentence, Cal Poly clarifies that part of their culture revolves around environmental responsibility. This clearly opens up opportunity structure for sustainable dining methods. Cal Poly has repeatedly included sustainability in its strategy and goals. In 2004, Cal Poly signed the Talwar Declaration, which articulated a 10-step plan towards creating a more sustainable future for the university. More recently, Cal Poly implemented its sustainable learning objectives. The structure of Cal Poly's leadership makes this innovation more than possible, as the president and board of directors both have a history of supporting sustainable entrepreneurship. Both the Talwar Declaration and the implementation of sustainability learning objectives were approved by Cal Poly's president. The board of directors has discussed sustainability in the past, and more specifically has discussed campus dining efforts. In their May meeting in 2019, they set the goal of making campus events result in zero waste. Finally, wrapping up the opportunity structures, the timing is perfect for Cal Poly to adopt our social innovation proposal. They had already made some strides, but experienced quite a few setbacks by the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, as we're rebounding and recovering from the pandemic, and more students are prepared to come back on campus, it is a great time to implement new sustainability measures. Single-use plastics will no longer be required to ensure public health, and students will be able to sit down and eat in the dining halls.
Our first frame is intended to target students, staff, faculty, and anyone else who consumes food and beverages on campus on a regular basis. In this frame, we are touching on both pathos and ethos. While we don't have access to the exact numbers currently, this frame would be most effective if we combine both numbers and stories. Sharing just how much Cal Poly's campus is contributing to the pollution in the environment through the use of quantifiable and tangible imagery is extremely impactful. For example, if someone hears that every minute 12 tons of waste is dumped into the ocean, they may not be able to make clear sense of the image, and it is thus easier to forget or brush off. If someone hears that every single minute the equivalent to an entire garbage truckload is dumped into the ocean, they have a real, raw, and painful image in their heads. Our second frame is intended to target investors and the board of directors of the Cal Poly Corporation. In this frame, it is important to acknowledge that they are running a huge business and their priorities may be different. In this frame, we are appealing to logos. We plan to use primarily numbers to show them the long-term cost benefits of cutting single-use items out completely. While it would require an initial investment in the long term, it would save money. Providing the exact amount of money that it would save in the next 5 to 10 years would be compelling in persuading these businessmen and women. The allies that we would target would start with the students on campus, more specifically teaming up with Cal Poly Eco Reps, Cal Poly Environmental Club, or the Cal Poly Food Club would be most likely the best place to start. Cal Poly alum are another group of allies that would help both in spreading our message and also potentially in investments. Professors, faculty, staff, and President Armstrong are also very important allies for us to gain. Lastly, either a few of the board of directors or the entire board as allies would help our movement exponentially.
Next, I'm going to talk about some of the mobilizing structures which could be used to promote this effort to create a more sustainable campus with less waste. So these mobilizing structures are the platforms that are going to get students involved and coordinate our message. So the first one we identified is social media, and this would be through various different campus accounts. First could be the campus dining accounts, housing could post about it to target first years, the Center for Sustainability could post about it, and the various clubs on campus that are trying to create a more environmentally friendly space. So some of the strengths that come with social media are that you can get your message out to a super wide audience and a very diverse group of students. It really has a far reach. So that's one of the best ways to get the message out and recruit a large number of people to help with the movement. But a weakness of social media is that it might not be easy to get a lot of the details and logistics for this movement out. So we would supplement that by including some other more personal methods of mobilizing. So an example of that could be through using Cal Poly's new student and transition programs. And these are the orientation leaders who welcome students to campus through slow days and week of welcome. So by having them trained and be advocates for our movement, we can have a lot more one-to-one recruitment for these sustainability efforts. And also we can implement some of these policies within the week of welcome and slow days to introduce new students to this zero waste lifestyle and have each new generation of students coming to Cal Poly campus be greener and greener. So a huge strength of this is that it's excellent for one-to-one recruitment, and the orientation leaders are some of the most influential people on campus, so we feel like they will do a great job of spreading the message. And additionally, it will help to share our framing in a really personal way with the new students on campus. And then a weakness would be it's got kind of a limited audience because it's only targeting first-year students, but we feel that that could come in handy for more of a long-term solution, so that each new group of students coming onto campus is going to be more and more environmentally friendly. And then the last mobilizing structure that we identified would be in-person advocacy. So this could come from the dining employees as they're serving food to students, or it could come from things like having booths in the UU area or near the food trucks, and also just student volunteers from sustainability clubs on campus who could be stationed near trash cans or, walking around dining areas as well. And a huge strength of these in-person advocates would be their ability to connect with people one-on-one and really share the frame in a personal way. So those are our mobilizing structures. Thank you.
So now let's talk about assessing the impact. I will use 3 of the 5 stages of impact measurement. According to the Food Recovery Network, college campus dining leads to 22 million pounds of food waste yearly. I believe that with efforts, Cal Poly can do better than this. So, with step 1, we hope to achieve less waste as a campus by promoting the use of reusable containers. This program achieves less waste by charging students and faculty when they do not bring back containers. This program encourages a culture of reusing dishes and rewards people who responsibly return dishes through the incentive of money. It also provides resources, the rentable dishes, to make it easy to reuse. It also educates students and faculty about how to rent dishware and the importance of reusing and composting due to the broken recycling system in the US. In 1960, Americans generated 2.68 pounds of garbage per day. By 2017, it had grown to an average of 4.51 pounds. And while many Americans put their items in recycling bins, much of it does not actually end up being recycled. Many recyclables become contaminated when items are placed in the wrong bin or other materials can't be processed in certain facilities. So we will know our impact is working when Cal Poly as a campus has less trash to bring to the landfill. It will also be visible through student accounts whether or not they're returning their containers. With step 2, Cal Poly can also measure how much trash is being brought to the landfills each week and weigh it to determine over time how much is being wasted. Another metric to measure impact will be through student accounts. We will measure over the span of a year how many charges an individual student receives for not returning their rentals and analyze if they have improved over time in remembering to reuse. With step 3, we are collecting data through weighing pounds of trash going to the landfills. We will also record students who are charged by the rental service to see how implementation is going and how much money people have spent on not reusing. In conclusion, we believe that it is essential to reduce single-use diningware on campus through utilizing a rental diningware service and educating and providing composting materials. Thank you for listening.